The following is a presentation of Project Independence and WCWP. Project Independence is the Aging in Place initiative of the town of North Hempstead.
Welcome to Project Independence and You.
Good morning and welcome to Community Talk Radio. This is Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host and producer, Kristina Liu, along with my co-hosts, Otto Los and Paula Ewell. Paula and I work together at the Town of North Hempstead Services for the Aging, where Paula is the Deputy Commissioner and I'm the Director of Senior Citizen Services. And Otto, everybody knows, volunteer, supporter, friend, the ultimate PI, the face of PI, really, Paula, I would have to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. on our brochure. 20 years now.
Yeah, I know.
You and Bunny.
Yep. I look a lot younger in that brochure.
Otto, I think you and Bunny look pretty much the same, I must say.
And you know that brochure, by the way, those flowers are plastic.
Wow, you guys heard it here first. We're pulling the veil away from the PI brochure.
They are.
Really?
I remember the day the photographer came around and there weren't any flowers around and he had a bunch of plastic flowers with him.
Well, Otto, I like starting it off, starting off the show with some giggles. But Otto, this morning we are joined by Jill Wasser, who's a Utility Consumer Program Specialist with the New York State Department of Public Service. And we're talking about a very timely topic that I think all of us could certainly relate to, getting help with winter bills and all the different consumer assistance programs available at the Department of Public Service. So welcome, Jill.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes. So I think, obviously, let's just start with this. What is the Department of Public Service?
It's the Department of Public Service is the New York State agency that regulates and oversees the utilities. It's actually a complicated name because I think it's probably one of the only utility regulatory agencies that doesn't have the word utility in their name. And actually that's because so I'm told, when the department was first started in 1907, we also regulated transportation. I guess it's a good thing we don't anymore.
Right.
But nonetheless, our agency is the one I said that oversees the utilities, such as your electric, gas, water, telephone, some cable companies. The familiar ones to us here in downstate New York, like Con Ed, National Grid, Liberty Water, the privately owned companies. Because when they're privately owned, they have public shareholders, so do you need a public watchdog? So there's the Public Service Commission, which are 7 commissioners, 5 appointed by the governor. They're the ones who make the decisions, not me. I'm part of the staff, the Department of Public Service, who does all the work behind the scenes. Here on Long Island, our role is a little more unique because our office here on Long Island was set up after the LIPA Reform Act. To sort of not really oversee LIPA, but oversee PSEG, the electric service provider. So we make recommendation. A role is more of an oversight one because LIPA is a public authority, another state agency. But nevertheless, our recommendations are taken seriously, and we do represent and do what we can for all Long Island ratepayers.
Like you mentioned, cable, like does Optimum and Verizon get into this?
Somewhat, yes. Although our regulation of them, because of deregulation, is a lot looser. In that vein, because cable too is considered entertainment. It's not a necessity like electricity or gas.
My household might say otherwise.
Kristen, in my house, we could not live without it.
Very serious utility.
I hear you, especially my daughter is still living home. My young millennial, that is definitely a necessity. But we can regulate basic cable. We need to make sure that like your TV goes on, you're getting your service. So, a basic service we can have some say over and can handle a complaint. Beyond that, unfortunately, no, if you're not getting HBO because they're fighting over a contract.
Right. Yeah.
So unfortunately there we can't help you.
Right. How do you actually regulate? Like, how do you know how to do it?
Well, there are standards that are set. There's public service law,
Okay.
that, is set by the commission, set by the legislature, that sets the standards
Okay.
for the utilities, for the companies to follow.
Okay.
In my view, my area, I'm in the Office of Consumer Services.
Okay.
So our raison d'etre is the Home Energy Fair Practices Act,
Okay.
otherwise known as HEFPA.
Okay.
Have to have an abbreviation working in government.
I noticed there's a lot of it.
There is a lot.
It certainly is. And as I was saying to Christine before, this isn't the sexiest of subjects and one that we often don't
Right.
think about.
Mhm.
Go into a room, put on the switch,
Right.
but go to the sink, turn on the faucet.
Right.
But they are, things we need to live with.
Yeah.
So the Home Energy for Practice Act, or HEFPA, is what's called the Utility Consumer Bill of Rights. You've heard of the hospital one, the airlines one, the patient one. This is the one for your utilities that covers every aspect of energy service that you can think of. Making sure that the wires overhead are okay, to, making sure you get a bill on time, that your bill is accurate, certain standards. It must be your right to complain about your service should you have a problem. As I always say, the important thing is to go to the utility first. You pay them every month.
Right.
They're supposed to give you service. It's their job to help you. For whatever reason, when they don't, that's what we're here for. Or you have other questions, our phone numbers are in the materials I brought with me, but on our website as well.
Now, primarily, this is in our world, it would be National Grid, PSE, and G. What about if you happen to have oil or,
Oil we do not handle.
right. So it's strictly,
Yes. Electricity, gas.
right.
Where there's a private water company, there's one, I think there's, hopefully I'm speaking correctly, that there's one left here on the island, Liberty Water. Municipal companies we don't handle. Sometimes we will, as a courtesy. We may look over if they come to us for rates. We may, look over that. But general everyday service complaints is handled by the
Okay.
company. It's
So
company itself.
primarily, we're directing everything we're talking about at National Grid and PSE and G.
Correct.
Pretty much, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And also under this, in doing research in this Home Energy Fair Practices Act, I think, mouthful.
Okay.
Very good.
You like how that I was practicing. I was practicing getting that out. And I was reading. It was saying like there's special protections involved in it.
As I said, it covers all aspects of energy service, billing, applications for service, terminations for service, the special protections I always highlight, especially for seniors.
Yeah.
That there are protections if, for example, you or someone's using medical equipment in the home that requires electricity.
Yeah.
There is something called life-sustaining equipment, and it is beneficial. It is important that the utility is notified if you have that in the home, because that does it. First of all, there's issues with billing. They can't come out and turn you off if you've had that kind of equipment in your house. But it's really more in the case of an emergency,
Yeah.
like the storms
Like
we've
we-
had.
Right.
Having.
We kept kind of lists of people that we knew had
Correct.
equipment, but
In that if they know that you have, let's say, I'm just using an example like oxygen in your house, the utility must reach out to you personally before the storm to let you know that we expect a big storm and that there may be prolonged outages, so that you can make whatever arrangements you have to, maybe to go somewhere else if you can, or get a backup generator, whatever the case may be, other supplies before the storm. Then they also are in contact with you during the storm to make sure that you're safe, have whatever supplies that you need, and during those times they also report to us on their outreach to their customers. So it is.
do they get priority as far as getting service back up and running?
Unfortunately, unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Wish they could, but
Yeah.
as far as restoring services, there's sort of a pecking order, basically where the largest outages are.
Yeah.
Right.
Critical
Makes sense.
facilities such as hospitals,
Yeah.
what's it called, government buildings, things like that.
Yeah.
And then it's where the largest, concentration is. And going from there, they do the best they can.
Yeah.
Would they provide guidance? Like, we may have some older senior types that maybe have a problem with technology or figuring out how to get a generator or whatever. How deep would they get as far as
I don't think they get
guiding them?
I don't think they get that,
Yeah.
but they can supply like maybe you can call somewhere. Can you,
Yeah.
that when they can't actually get you one, but maybe they can,
Connect you to resource.
connect you to resource. Yeah.
So if you are on one of, oxygen or whatever it is, so you would directly tell, National Grid or PSEG, so you tell them and then you're on this list.
Yeah,
I
well,
see.
actually, yes. You as the consumer,
Right.
you should, you need to tell them.
Yeah.
Right.
Once you tell them, they code your account
Okay.
accordingly.
I think there's a document. There's a
Yes,
document
and
that
you
has
have
get
to, yes,
completed.
you get certification
Yeah.
from your doctor
Yeah.
that you have this equipment.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, they will reach out to recertify to say, do you still have this equipment?
Okay.
Are you still there?
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
Is it social workers that reach out? Like what is this? Is it just general staff that works?
yes, you just call
Yeah, I
the
didn't know if they
company,
got the- okay.
customer service
Mhm.
staff. If there are issues,
Yeah.
where someone may be having trouble with the bill or
Yeah.
other, need other services,
Yeah.
the utilities do have consumer advocates
Mhm.
that
Okay.
they can, reach out
Okay.
to
Well,
you.
like Project Independence,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
would get involved with people who have this
Yeah, of
Of
situation.
course,
Correct.
yeah.
What, I don't know, frankly. I mean, I know people have generators,
Yeah.
which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as a portable temporary generator? What do you do about it is what I'm asking, really.
Well, the first
Yeah.
step, so it's just like we would try to see if they had family or friend or someone somewhere else to go ahead of time.
Right.
And
Exactly.
but the problem we know comes up when they don't have that.
Right.
That's true.
And then that gets very, very
and-
tricky. And then we ask, like we would ask anybody that had no other help, do you have a faith-based affiliation? Do you have a neighbor? We try to figure that out. Can you,
Even if they have the neighbor could be down to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
Oh, sure.
that's what I'm saying is, what can you do?
Yeah.
Because it is a serious problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you know, if somebody's
Yeah.
on
Of
oxygen.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I do know, I'm going back a little bit, but when people were notified of that ahead of time, like with Sandy,
Mhm.
there was I believe it was the county at the time, gave an option to help transfer you somewhere
Yeah.
where you would be safe. And usually that place was like a nursing home,
Mhm.
a health-based healthcare facility. Or I don't think they do hospitals. I know at one point it was,
It was a lot of like
it
assisted
was-
living
it was-
nursing homes that
yeah.
people I remember at the
but
time. were
getting
being
you to a
taken
place that does have that priority and you can stay connected to the oxygen source or
Mhm.
whatever. Because the same thing comes up with you're not getting dialysis at home, but you need to get
Right.
out for dialysis. So that's something we flag pre any storm and we call ahead and
Well,
know,
like
to-
during Sandy, for example,
Yeah.
there was a lot of outages. It wasn't just like
no,
one
right,
block,
right. That's when I think we kind of learned that you have to transport people someplace else if you can.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yes.
getting ahead of it is the most
And I think it's
important
like what
thing.
Joe was saying too. It's like, as a consumer, this is what we always preach on the show, right? It's part of your
Your-
preparation. If
right,
if this
right.
is what
Exactly.
you're, like
Yeah.
it has to be, and I remember we'll give a shout out to Jerry Parrotsman, who,
Oh,
founder
yeah.
of the radio show.
Yeah.
I remember during the time too, that was like a big talk about the oxygen and, there was a lot of places people were able to get, portable kind
Right,
of
right.
situations going on or, and get, an extra amount of it. So I think, it takes some ownership, part of the consumer. You have to, kind of make this and it's great that the utility company could have
Yeah.
this kind of more, make sure it's on your radar
Yeah.
to kind of do it because
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty serious.
yeah, it's
very
serious.
serious.
It's very
Very
serious.
serious.
Absolutely.
If
Yeah.
you need oxygen and
Yeah.
all of a sudden it hits the fan.
Yeah.
And now what? You really should have thought about that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, I think the ownership also has to be on the consumer to, be proactive.
Yeah, but I'll be willing
Yeah,
to
you do,
wager
that's
that
what we-
a small percentage of people who were in that
Yeah, I'm
situation
sure.
are actually ready for action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
That's
right.
That's why we're here. and-
Right,
and
exactly. It's all we can do is
Um,
spread the word.
The other thing that's also part of the law that I always suggest we don't even talk about. We call it third-party notification, but I believe the utility calls it peace of mind program or friendly follow-up. Basically, you can designate a friend or another family member.
Yes.
This is where I joke that the
Yes.
rotten grandchildren or rotten kids
Right.
can be useful. To get bills and notices
Right.
should, God forbid, you become ill,
Right.
and
Mention
or
that.
That's
or-
a great, yeah, that's
or
a
be
great.
away.
Put that in my
Yeah.
bill.
Or-
I'm like, do you want to fill out this form and
Yes,
send it back?
or away for a long period of time, so that services aren't interrupted. So you're getting the bills
Right.
that they're forwarded, and that
Right.
things are taken care of. One of the first complaints that I handled when I came to the agency was someone whose Verizon service was disconnected because they were in Florida for the winter and never got the bill.
Oh.
So, of course, once they notified us, we took care of that
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
But, to avoid a
Well, if
situation
people are
like
so
that.
inclined, auto pay
Yes.
helps
Yes.
keep
True.
that as
Yes.
not a problem.
There's Otto's golden nugget, but we have to take a break. After the break, we will continue talking with Jill Wasser, Utility Consumer Program Specialist with the New York State Department of Public Service, all about getting help with winter bills and the wonderful services DPS provides. You're listening to Project Independence in You on LIU Public Radio.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
Welcome back to Project Independence in You on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host, Kristina Liu, along with my co-hosts, Paula Ewell and Otto Loos. And we're diving right back in with Jill Wasser, the Utility Consumer Program Specialist for the New York State Department of Public Service, all about getting help with winter bills and the consumer assistance programs available. So Otto, I know, during commercial break, as in true Otto fashion,
but I
he just.
forgot now.
Oh, now you forgot.
No, you
See, Dan, and this is the problem, Dan. You're just gonna need to record all the way through, So Otto, okay. Otto, I'll give you a hint. You were mentioning about water.
Well, no, actually, I'm going to go back
Go ahead.
different notch. Like
go
if
ahead.
you have issues with certain organizations about all of a sudden the price went up and this, that, and whatever, is there such a thing as negotiating with National Grid or PSE&G, or is it, sorry, that's the way it is?
Well, that's sort of, in a way, the responsibility of our commission department. Your utility costs and the bills are separated into two parts. There is what we call a supply charge, which is the charge for the actual commodity, your actual gas, electric, or water. That price is set by good old supply and demand.
Okay.
Is set by the market. So it's really hard you really can't negotiate there. But we do ask the utilities to try to get the best prices that they can for this commodity. It's also an area that you could potentially shop for.
Yeah.
There were other companies offering this service, really not many on Long Island, but you can, that's probably your only option in terms of negotiation. This really isn't, but what we do is most of the utilities do report to us in the like around September, October, to give their forecast of what they think the prices will be for the winter. and we try to, encourage them to prepare as best they, as best they can and get, the best prices on this that they possibly can. But of course, with the demand and weather and winter, I know my own
Really
bills
rough.
were high, were higher than they've been in the past. So then there's the other part that's the what we call the delivery charge. Those rates are set by the Public Service Commission. That charge includes basically the cost of bringing the service to you and maintaining the system. When a utility wants, an increase, some more money for that, they come to the commission. It is almost an 11-month process. These are really carefully looked at by a whole team of staff, engineers, lawyers, accountants, consumer people. And in that vein, you do have the opportunity to provide input. There are, hearings, yourself or as an organization can become part of the case. So that is your chance to speak up, for lack of a better term. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Right. Yeah.
But it is important. People have said to me over the years, "Oh, why bother? Can't fight City Hall." No. Your input is always important. And, it is always important. I always say, better if you don't speak up, you lose your chance.
Yeah.
So,
and the utilities, I know we've had a lot of people come in to talk to our staff, do have certain programs to help people that are struggling financially. Which some of them are really amazing, and we're kind of like, take advantage of this. Like if you don't have the initiative to ask and, get the information, we try to get it to people as best we can. And then there's the side of it where if someone is struggling financially, we certainly can go in and try to help them look at the budget and or refer them to financial counselors, no cost, that could try to help them look at all of their bills. So, it's one part.
That usage, in other words, the way I understand what you just said, somebody supplies the electricity.
Correct.
Somebody delivers the electricity.
Correct.
And I use the electricity.
Correct.
Part 3 of the,
well, part 2, it's, as I said, it's the supply, and then it's the, delivery and, maintaining the system.
And using it.
And you using it, yes.
Okay.
And included in maintaining the system, again, it's a balance. It's a balance. We are trying to keep the costs as low as we possibly can, but also making sure that the utilities have the resources they need to give you safe and reliable service. And also hopefully protecting the environment at the same time. And sometimes in having those resources, other things we do, like if they want to build a new power facility or, generating facility, there's also a process where they need our approval. So, and in that vein, when you mentioned assistance programs, again, not by us on the utilities, there's obviously, I brought a fact sheet that has a listing of the programs that are available, including HEAP, REAP, that is Residential Energy Assistance Program. It's from PSEG. Project Warmth, the number of clean energy programs, and all the websites and phone numbers where people can access these services.
Right. It's
and
nice
they
to have
really,
it on one page.
It really is. And I'm looking at it. If you're watching us on YouTube, you could see it directly. But I do think it's a really wonderful thing. And if you would like to have this, you could certainly call 311 or 516-869-6311. I'd be happy to mail it out to you because there's even little QR codes on there, so it's a great tool. I want to get this to our social workers actually, because I think it's a good tool.
And I can supply
Yeah, you can
more
absolutely,
for you.
absolutely.
And by the way, this fact sheet happens to be in English and Spanish.
Yeah, great.
So yes, and go to because people also ask me many times, well, gee, do you think I could get this? Do I qualify?
Right.
And you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Some of the parameters are a lot more liberal than you might think, and you never know.
Right.
So I always say go in,
Right.
and because we and they, we do, it is in our interest to work with you. We want to keep the lights on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, like in preparing for this, there's EAP, there's HEAP, there's Project Warmth, and there's some other things maybe that I skipped. As a consumer, I look and I say, oh, I don't know which one of these would be good for me. Is there a central point or number you could call and say, here's my scenario?
I would start with the utility, calling PSEG.
Okay.
They're just their customer service. Call them, and they have access to your account, and have them look at it, and then they can start. They can refer you on further.
Yeah.
So the program, like for National Grid, if I would,
Yes.
you could have both,
Correct.
but you would have to contact them each
Yes, I would contact them.
independently.
Correct.
It's not like
It's
HEAP.
not connected.
HEAP doesn't apply to all of it.
Correct.
There's a
Yes.
HEAP within each.
Yes.
Of them. Okay.
Yes, he put Department of Social. Yes.
Okay.
But
That's
once
good.
you,
So-called
but once
social
you
ser-
do
yeah.
contact the utility, again, there are consumer advocates. If it's deemed that there is a need, then once they put you in, they would connect you with one of them, then they can be helpful in, centralizing and getting some of these, coordinating some of these services.
Well, I think like in the case of Project Independence, they could call Project
Yeah.
Independence
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes.
for guidance in
Yes.
terms
Right.
of how to kick it in.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can help with the application.
Right,
We can
get it
do all that.
started.
Yeah, and
Right.
do it with, complete it.
Because I'm
Yes,
sure
we
it
can
comes
help.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, it certainly comes
Yep,
up.
it
Yeah.
definitely comes up. Because also at that point, if someone is eligible for that service, they also might be eligible for other
others, yep.
entitlement.
Correct.
So that's,
Yes.
we're looking at it from that perspective.
And I often say and advise other healthcare and senior service providers, let's say if you were working with clients to help get them Medicaid or SNAP or things of that
Sometimes it's
nature,
automatic.
once they're qualified for those programs, then they immediately qualify for number
Right.
the
They don't
discount
have to separately then. Right.
programs. Because I've had PSEG also, they have the household assistance program
Yeah.
where once you're on some of these other things like
Right,
SNAP,
SNAP,
HEAP,
yeah.
there is an automatic discount on the bill.
So you
So
don't
like-
even have to do anything.
Yeah, but
Correct.
like
But
for
you,
the-
but you have to now be eligible,
but
you know.
but this could
yes.
be overwhelming for somebody who's a
sure.
little older.
Yes.
And maybe, not actively involved with what's going
You might
on.
not know it's available.
No.
I mean, that's the
So-
main thing. I don't think
So
people
the
might not
beauty of
know.
like a Project Independence is it's like one-stop shopping.
Correct.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you, Otto.
Well,
That's-
it's a
no,
fact.
it is
I
a
mean,
fact.
that's the biggest advantage to me
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it's 1-800, like I used to say, Project Independence.
Yes.
And as a result of that, you can access a lot of different benefits
Yeah.
that might fit, but you have to be honest with the
Right.
people who you
Right.
don't have too much pride that you're not afraid to bring it up.
Right.
There are things
That
out there
is,
to
yeah.
help people, and
Yeah.
you've got to take advantage of it.
Well, I think too, just like a little nugget that Jill had that I really want to hit home to everyone listening is, it's so important to contact these utility companies because I think a lot of times in these situations it's just their bills are piling up and you're just
Right.
ignoring it, and then you're in this crisis situation. But I do think what you said is the goal is nobody wants to shut your lights
Right.
off or your whatever it might be. So I think being upfront and honest, and I know a lot of people when you're calling then you might have the ability to be connected to the right person,
Right.
to have things worked out, to get connected to a consumer advocate, so
Right.
I do think that that's a real important message message for everyone listening, is to,
Don't
reach
wait.
out. Right.
Don't keep waiting.
Exactly.
Don't get in such a
Yeah.
hole where you can't dig yourself out.
Exactly. This is what I always say time and again for over 30 years. But also in that vein, if you are falling behind again, contact the utility. And that's also again where we come in. If someone because you also have the right to what we call a deferred payment agreement.
Okay.
That is also in the law, that if you are behind, the utility does have to work out some kind of agreement with you that is affordable to pay those bills.
Exactly. And that's
And
something that you wouldn't know if you didn't call.
And that's also we're probably a large percentage of our work where we will mediate on your behalf.
Right.
Because sometimes the company will say, well, give us $200. I'm just throwing out a number, and you only have 75.
Right.
So then maybe we can work out a number like 60 where you could.
Right. Right.
So that's where we will come in.
Right.
I mean, that I could imagine is probably a huge part of
Yes.
your service.
Does the utility let the consumer know about your services? Like, how would the consumer know that there's an option to call you?
I believe they usually do. Our number, I believe, is usually on the bills as
if you need help,
Or you have to start a radio show, and this is where you get all the information. You know where to go. I mean, I think it's a PI and U commercial right there.
Again, all the numbers are on our websites and on the flyers I gave you. But for those, but I can also say our general helpline number is 1-800-342-3377.
3377.
Yeah. So don't hesitate to call. And again, if we have to refer you back to the utility, we will.
800.
Or get more information and do our utmost to try to help and facilitate on your behalf.
How big is your staff here on Long Island?
Our Long Island office itself is small.
Yeah.
We're probably about 70 staff members.
That's not
But
small.
we have our offices in New York City.
Yeah.
We have offices in our main call centers are in New York City and Albany.
Oh, okay.
But any complaints about Long Island are forwarded to us.
Got it.
And I think,
That's
and we kind of touched a little bit upon this, but about, if you have some kind of complaint or whatever, is there a specific procedure you have to follow or?
Yes, there is. It is a 3-step process. Basically, there is the initial complaint where you can either call us, file the complaint online on our website, www.dps.ny.gov, /complaints, or you can come to our office. Our Long Island office is here in Plainview.
Oh, okay.
We do take walk-in complaints, but we generally do encourage you to call or provide it or file it online. It's just as effective and even more convenient.
Yeah.
But you are welcome. I do have a listing of all our numbers that I can leave with.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would
Christine.
you say are the top 3 biggest complaints that you get?
As I don't directly handle complaints, I would say billing. And service.
Yeah.
A wire or a pole down. This is talking off the top of my head.
I would think so.
We're not. This is not.
That's okay.
This is a conversation.
Yeah.
And so billing and service means
Yes.
something breaks or doesn't
Correct.
work or
Like an
whatever.
outage or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Because those are the things that certainly come up on my Ring camera, chat board. And then my phone is constantly ding, ding, ding. So people, I think, are certainly concerned about all those things. But I think it's important, that, I don't even know if people are aware that there's, a whole complaint kind of process to do.
And then, so that is an initial process
Okay.
where, again, you call our call center. We get your account. We get the information from the utility, review it. and then determine if, we can help or not, or say, like it's a high bill. No, we review the records, the bill is correct. You still don't think it's correct, then we can come back and analyze further. I think there's an analysis unit that will review further. You still don't, then you are entitled to what we call an informal hearing.
Okay.
Where hearing, one of our staffers will work with you and the utility again to further review the complaint and see if there's any way that we can resolve the issue.
Okay.
And the last but not least is a formal appeal to the commission itself. That's usually on a large scale, billing or service issue. But yes, it is a 3-step process.
Okay.
Again, we do everything that we can to try to resolve the complaint. So yes, it is a 3-step process.
Okay.
Now, you're involved with consumer, not commercial. I could imagine commercial being
We take commercial, yes. We take commercial complaints
really,
as well.
yeah, that
Yes.
could be, I could visualize that being
Yes.
a mess.
Yes.
I like that. For lack of a better word, a mess.
I mean, you're dealing
actually,
with a much bigger monster, if you will.
Actually, there also, it's not as, besides residential consumer rights, there also are non-residential or commercial consumer rights. We don't do as an average, we don't do as much with businesses, but yes, if there are billing and service computes, those are a larger scale. We will also handle those.
Okay.
Very often it's an issue of a deposit or getting service, things like that.
Well, Jill, hold that thought because we need to take another break. After the break, we will continue talking with Jill Wasser, Utility Consumer Program Specialist with the New York State Department of Public Service, all about getting help with winter bills and different DPS consumer assistance programs. You're listening to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio.
So I get this call from my grandma, and she's like,
"What's a podcast and how much does it cost?"
So I tell her, podcasts are like radio shows, but you can download them on any device and listen to them anywhere at any time, and they're free. And then she says,
"I see, but where can you find good ones?"
And I'm like, go to wcwp.org/podcast and check out the lineup of original shows, or download any podcast app on your phone or tablet and search for LIU Studios. And she's all like,
"Oh, that sounds easy."
And then she asked me what an app is.
LIU Studios podcasts, available on any podcast app. Those little button things on your phone screen. Just ask your grandkids.
Welcome back to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio. I'm your host, Kristina Liu, along with my co-host, Paula Yule and Otto Lowe's. And we're jumping right back in with Jill Wasser, Utility Consumer Program Specialist at the New York State Department of Public Service. So, of course, we're very chatty during the breaks. I know, Otto, you have some, so I want to get to your questions.
Well, no, I was
first.
listening to Dan during the.
Oh, he was just waiting to rat out Dan for asking questions during the break. He got
how he
payback.
is when we have.
I know you got your payback. I knew you were waiting for that, Otto.
I have a question in the sense that Long Island, including my house, most of them are older and have a very large amount of leaks usually. All right. And I know I have a couple of spots where you could put your hand up, and one was 0 degrees. And
I'm saying you probably felt that in recent
weeks
times,
ago,
right?
it felt like I was outside.
Right.
I could put
Yeah.
my hand up,
Yeah.
it was coming through the door.
Well, in that respect, if you haven't already, something that you are entitled to is a free home energy assessment. You can call PSCG and arrange for that. I think they even offer it online now. I did it years ago in person, where someone can come out to your home and check for leaks or where you have poor insulation. Sometimes they'll give you some caulking, some new LED energy efficient light bulbs.
Yeah.
There's numbers that they may give you for free, but then they in their recommendation they may say other improvements that you might have to do that will cost. They can give you a list of contractors, or you can find yourself sometimes and see what programs you could take advantage of for the
Right.
cost.
Yeah, this is PSE&G.
PSEG and National Grid, you are entitled to a
Right.
free home
Both do.
energy audit.
Okay.
Yes. But it's the PSEG. I did one.
Yeah.
Actually before I renovated my house,
like what?
Yeah.
and I did use it. I did convert to gas at the time through that
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
It's not there now, but that there are, and also there's little things that you can do yourself. As I mentioned, the caulking or
Yeah.
weather stripping.
Yeah.
Before you're getting into the whole thing of replacing windows and doors.
Yeah.
That's on you, but you can do things like that. I also say getting the programmable or smart thermostats. I have some, I don't have all. And there's a billion of smart devices.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Right up Otto's
my
alley.
son has all
Oh,
of
I'm
them.
sure.
I don't.
That's
I'm
like
not-
my brother is like
I'm
the
not
king
that
of all things
smart.
smart. Yeah.
So show me which devices you get. So actually, we do have some tips that we suggest. That's also on our, on our website. So there's some simple things that you can do. I also advise, making sure that your heating system is all, tuned and cleaned before the season.
Right.
I have to laugh
that's-
because it sounds like my husband's list. This is a very Jay. I'm gonna have to bring this
Yeah.
home.
No, you mentioned smart thermostats, all right? One of the questions I had in my head, okay, it sounds easy, but if you don't know what you're doing, which includes me, does anybody guide you or
Yeah.
tell you how to put this smart thermostat?
Yeah, so actually I
in?
can speak because when we had to replace
You know
our
how to do
thermostat.
it?
I do not. I don't even go near it.
Okay,
I don't
I
even want to
can
look at the
always-
thermostat. I wait.
Give you a
you know.
nice bottle of
But yeah,
rosé.
I can send Jay. Jay knows how. I'll send Jay over. Jay will also work for rosé. But when we first got our new thing and the oil, because we have oil, they
have
actually
oil,
came in
yeah.
and sat with us and showed us how to program each thing because it is complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just okay, I'm going to because it's like based on the hour.
Well,
it's like a
even
whole-
just,
yeah.
I mean,
And he installed it
and
too.
behind the
installed it.
thermostat,
Yeah.
there were wires.
Yeah, no, we actually
And
had
once
our
you see
guy come in and do
wires,
it.
now what?
Yeah.
Who does what to who?
Yeah,
does
our
it?
oil company did it.
Oh,
Our
the
oil company
did it.
actually
Yeah.
assisted us.
So I'll
Okay.
bring it up with
Maybe-
them.
Yeah.
Or your service company,
Right.
who's ever servicing your system. They may do it as well, and there were discounts offered. Again, we have nothing to do with that,
Yeah.
but
No, and it was,
Research
and
you could do.
and I could really speak. I think all of us, I said this is certainly, when we scheduled this many months ago, we weren't aware how quite timely this topic
Very
was going
true.
to be. It was,
as it's
Yeah,
been
really.
quite a winter, and I really do hope that it's coming to
yes,
an
Yeah.
end. I know
Well,
what snow looks like.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's melted. We have the
It can
sunshine.
go
Listen
away
to us
now.
live. The sun is out today, and I couldn't be
Yes.
happier.
Exactly.
But on top of these costs, and I was just sitting here thinking, I know of ourselves, it's like every time the oil bill comes, it's like we're like holding our breath,
yeah,
like, oh my
yeah.
God, what is this going to be, And I can only imagine for someone who's on a fixed income, what
Right.
that is, because it adds up, right? And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very easy, to get.
Actually,
Too
oil is
much.
the only thing that didn't go up in my
Mhm.
case, all right?
Mhm.
Electric and water are like,
Mhm.
all of a sudden, did I start drinking a lot of water?
Right.
Yeah.
Because the water bill has gone sky high
Yeah.
compared to what it was.
No, but that's why it's so hard, and like during this time,
Yeah,
and,
the fixed income. That's
and I
where
was, and
you
I was like
start.
thinking, and with this servicing, it really is such an important thing to do because,
Yeah.
I was, all of us have been there that, during this, of course, you're paying your standard bill, then something breaks, so it's like you need to like, it's like, your car, right? You need to kind of maintain it
right.
and make sure because like, you don't want that headache and that bill.
Right.
Certainly you
Right.
don't want that.
Cool.
It's my PSA for,
Right.
for that one.
And I'll just mention also, since we were on the topic of winter and storms, which I hope are
Yes.
done with now. Please, March is coming. Let
Yeah.
it truly be
Right.
spring.
Yeah.
We do have intermission service interruptions, but we mentioned watch. Another thing that we always that we advise is utilities offer alert programs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Texting, phone calls, watching for announcements. I encourage everyone to sign up for those.
Yeah.
I think the last time maybe I got 15 texts some
Yes,
PSEG
yeah,
in like
yeah.
a 20-minute period. But
And an email and
yes, an email
Right.
and a phone call,
Right.
but something, you are
worth it.
getting
Yeah,
them.
yep,
And that is
good.
that is important.
Yeah.
Another area that we talk about almost every week is scams.
Oh, yes.
All right. And I know utilities are not out of the scam world. Maybe just let's touch on
Yeah,
that one
absolutely.
first.
Yes, actually, I brought some information. Yes, the scams, I think, are growing faster than the weeds in the garden.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
they're even higher than the snowfall. It is amazing. One door, a door opens,
Yeah.
and
Right.
there's
something else there.
yeah.
Yeah.
yes, and the Pandora's box is out, the whatever it is. So we always say, always beware. Always be on your toes. If it doesn't seem right, it isn't right.
Yeah.
My mother used to say, when in doubt, do without.
Right.
I will say, when
Right.
in doubt, don't do. And it is very easy to fall for it. They
Yeah.
get trickier and more
Right.
creative
And look real.
every day. I almost
Right.
did.
Yeah.
So I say never, obviously never share personal information. If you get a phone, and actually that's where the law comes up that I mentioned before. It's boring when I say service terminations. Someone calls you and says, we're
certain
shutting
it
off
off,
your
yeah.
service in 20 minutes unless you give us $1,000 by a crypto. Red flag right there.
Yeah.
The right away is
Yeah.
red flag.
Right.
Because there are rules that must be followed
Right.
before anyone is terminated.
Yeah, and that I think we just got our golden
service.
nugget right there.
Yeah.
On the show we're very big on our golden nuggets, and that's a great point. Is that the right away, is clearly not.
Well,
what it was.
They might, if God forbid you are in that situation, they have to notify you. They have to work with you.
Mhm.
That's what I said before about our mediated, and like you owe, $200 and
Right.
only have 50.
Right.
So, again, no one wants to turn your service off.
Yeah.
So, it is not, God forbid you or someone are in that situation. It is not a surprise.
Yeah.
So somebody calling you, they called me one day saying that my payment, even though I could see it right on my bank account that it had posted. No, it didn't really post. We're having problems with our
It's just
system. You have to
fake,
give
yeah.
us, yes. And I almost did. So, they caught
Yeah.
me off guard, and thank
They
God.
create panic, right?
They
Because
do.
obviously nobody wants their utilities, shut
So like
off.
the utility scams can come in through the front door. They can come in
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
They can come
So-
in on email.
Email.
I've had them all.
Yes, I have.
I didn't bite for them, but
I have as well.
yeah.
So the important thing is, number one, you get one of these phone calls, obviously hang up, report it, and also call the number on your utility bill if they're asking for some payment method like
Right.
crypto, Bitcoin. I've heard of online things, debit cards. Verify call the number on your bill and verify which payment method they are accepting. Because some of the utilities now are going like towards Apple or Google Pay
Okay.
or credit card, but call the number on your bill. Somebody comes to the door. If the utility is going to be in your area, they should be notifying you that they are.
Yeah.
They often do because they're fixing a line or
Right,
fixing
yeah.
something. They show up by surprise. Well, guess we have the Ring camera. Don't let them in. Ask for a name. Ask for ID. They should be presenting a PSCG ID. Then again, I would call
Yeah.
the utility
'Cause
right
an
then and
ID
there.
can- yeah.
Right, 'cause
I
you
have
can
so and so at my house.
Mhm.
So, again, my old joke when I give presentations is that my mother would not let anybody in if she didn't know you were coming, including me.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can make a
So-
fake ID.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Just because
Exactly.
I have a PSE.
That's right. That's
thing,
why.
I could print any of them
That's
now.
why always call, verify the legit,
Yeah.
call the number on your bill or on their website that and verify, yes, so and so is at my door. You're supposed to be in my neighborhood today.
Yeah.
And the email too.
Right.
You know, I said I've gotten them.
Yeah.
I got an email from them one day that I owed a penny.
Yes. Well, the meters are all outside
We just
now.
want you to
Correct.
put your information
And they're
in.
also
Right.
automated. Exactly.
Right.
And so again, you know, do not give any personal information. If it doesn't, again, call the number on your bill and verify this. And if it is something wrong, like you're getting an email, strange phone call, someone at your house, report that.
Yeah.
Immediately report that to the utility. You can also report that to us because we do keep track
Yeah.
of things like
Phone
that.
call, they can fake PSE&G.
That's correct.
That it looks like.
And that's happening more and more with the fake,
Yeah.
I've been
Yes.
noticing that with these scam calls. I've been getting a lot of Chase Bank things and
Yeah.
it's not Chase Bank.
Yes, I
My
know.
deal
And
is-
I get a hysterical phone call from my husband.
Right.
I see
Is this
this
real?
Right.
Yeah. Is something wrong with the credit card? No, I'm just spending.
No, we don't have a credit card with this.
There you go. But again, you cannot be too careful.
Right.
Always be on guard.
Yeah.
If it's not, I always say, trust your instinct. If it's not right, it isn't. Verify, because again, they get more creative every minute, every second.
It's not against the law not to pick up your phone. I always tell people with landlines particularly, don't pick the phone up.
Right.
If it's somebody who really wants you, they'll leave a message.
Right.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
I mean, I have friends, they run to the other end of the house
Right.
to pick the phone up.
Yeah.
And I'm saying,
It's like, why?
yeah, why are you doing that?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would say out of God knows how many numbers, 50 phone calls, we maybe got one message in those 50
I know.
phone
Actually,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my own home, we have the triple play. I still have the house phone. I
We
guess.
did your Otto,
I
yes,
guess
we
we
did
do.
too.
And you know why you have it? Because if you got rid of it, it would cost you more
Right.
for
did-
your
yep.
cable vision.
This thing Otto's very passionate about, Jill. This comes up quite often.
Well, it would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's true.
oh yeah, you cancel that? Yeah, it's going to cost
We
you.
keep
more
it
for
because I guess, if I know someone's home, I'll call the house.
Yeah.
Or the one like older relative who I haven't
Right,
heard
yes.
from in 15
Right.
years will call
Right.
the house.
Right.
But otherwise, 3/4 of the time, it is a scam
Literally.
or marketing call. My daughter will answer the phone. Hello, are you a telemarketer or are you my mother?
Right.
If you're a telemarketer, goodbye.
Yeah, but telemarketers are thieves in a lot of cases.
That is true. So then I say, why do I still have a house phone? Well, it's connected to my alarm again.
I get
for
it.
the-
I'm with you. I understand. I get it.
and I generally give most people my cell phone because it's attached to me
Right, right,
24
right.
hours of the
Yeah.
day.
Actually, it does come in handy. Like not too many weeks ago, the cell phones were down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
exactly.
So you had a landline you could use if you had to.
An
That is
emergency, yeah.
that is true. It is a backup. So
Yeah, but
in that
I
vein,
think
and
too,
yes,
what you
I
said, the
don't-
rule of thumb with calling and that's something that we say all the time, right? Whether it's a credit card, call the number that's on the back of your credit card. Because at the end of the day, if someone is legit,
Right.
they're not going to get mad at you for confirming they're legit.
Right.
So I just think, because a lot of people, you're hesitating, but if someone's not doing something wrong, they're not going to be mad at you for, verifying a
And
situation.
they're very nice when you
Yeah.
call, when you like you get a text. I got a text
Mhm.
from Four Leaf last week, yeah, are you using this such and such $800? And I was just, no, I was sitting there. So I called them. And at first you're hesitant just to call that number.
Yes.
But I said,
Well, that's
we'll
why
see.
we say is you
Right.
say call the number on the card.
Mhm.
Call
and they
the
were
nu-
very nice. Thank you
call
for
the-
reporting.
call the number on your
Hold
bill.
on.
Actually, I got a call one day to work. I think it was someone actually offering me an energy star
free.
Yeah,
something or
yeah,
other,
yeah.
and I'm thinking this doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
So with that, I called PSEG, and they said, no, that is not us.
Yeah.
They thought actually maybe that it was a solar company.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That's why you listen. You just got to, be on your guard. We always say it's a fine line. You don't want people terrified, but it is okay to question things and to,
Yeah.
verify. And I think that it's
Absolutely.
certainly important, and to report it, because you reporting it, helps the next person.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable how many people still get scammed, and it could happen to any of us. Of course, they're so good at it.
I know. Well, as I said, when
And AI has made that.
oh yes,
Yeah.
please. Don't get me started. No, I know when it almost happened to me, and I went into work the next day and was telling them, Jill, that's a scam.
Right.
No, but I think it's a good point. It could happen to anyone
yes.
because they are extreme,
Yes.
and I think it's just to take that moment because they're banking on you being in a panic thing and to
Right.
immediately
Yes.
handle it. So
Exactly.
but we are at the end of our segment. I would like to thank our guest today, Jill Wasser, for such wonderful information for us personally and for our listeners. I would like to thank everyone who has listened to us. You're listening to Project Independence and You on LIU Public Radio.